You need a few groceries, maybe just enough to justify a trip, your handwritten list, the soft clink of keys in your palm. You choose not to order online today. Instead, you step outside, shoes scuffing the threshold, and feel the day waiting for you, warm, indifferent, present. At the door, you're not alone. He's already there, your dog, tail sweeping the floor, eyes bright with anticipation. He knows what the sound of keys means. To him, the world is stitched together by routines, patterns, small signs that promise something good. He wants to come. Maybe he sits, maybe he whines, maybe he just looks at you, hope and excitement pressed into every muscle. And you? Can you really say no to that face? As you open the car door and he leaps in, tail moving like a signal he can't help sending, a quiet question stirs. What is he excited for? Is it the destination, an invisible map in his mind? Or is it something stranger, something we barely notice anymore? You drive. For you, it's a short journey. Houses, trees, signs flickering by, the familiar blur of a world moving past a window. But for him, what does it mean to travel at speed, to sit still while the world rushes by? What does a journey feel like in a body built for running, sniffing, and exploring, when the world outside is untouchable, forever out of reach, yet impossibly close? This is not just a story about travel. It's a story about seeing movement, distance, and change, not through your own eyes, but through the senses of another. And maybe, along the way, you'll find that every journey is more than just a line between 2 points. Maybe it's a lesson in how meaning itself is made. You drive, a short errand, familiar streets, a route you've taken so many times it barely registers. But beside you, someone else is wide awake. His head leans into the wind that slips through the half-open window. His eyes stay alert. His nose twitches, not just once, but constantly, reading the world in a way you can't. For you, the car is a shell, a way to cross distance, to fold space into something manageable. But for him, the world doesn't shrink, it expands. Every motion cracks open new air, new signals, new meaning. You see scenery, he senses traces, not in numbers, but in scent. The dog that passed here hours ago, the fading echo of a storm, the sharp bloom of gasoline layered over a trail of crushed ants. His nose holds a map of the immediate. His inner ear, a delicate balance system of bone and fluid, tracks every bend and bump with a precision no GPS can match. You barely feel the turn. He leans into it instinctively, as if his body still believes it must chase or be chased. This isn't going somewhere. This is sensation, raw and alive. And memory rides along too. The soft whine of the engine, the click of the door. It's never just sound, it's a key. For some dogs, these signals unlock joy, the thrill of a park, a favorite path, a chance to run. For others, they unlock something quieter, a trembling unease shaped by past journeys. And yet they climb in, again and again. Not because they know where they're going, but because they know who they're going with. You may think you are the driver, but look again. He doesn't need a destination to believe in the road. He just needs you. Trust here is simple: to sit still in a moving world and never stop listening. You pick her up gently. She doesn't resist, not exactly, but her body stiffens, her tail flicks once. She knows this isn't routine. A carrier waits near the door. Plastic, fabric, quiet, but unmistakable. She looks at it the way you might look at an elevator with no buttons. Something that moves, but not by your will. Cats do not travel in the way dogs do. They inhabit space. They map it. Not with lines or names, but with scent, silence, and memory. Corners, windowsills, dust-speckled shafts of light. These are her geography. Her world is not large, but it is known. And in that knownness, she is sovereign. But now the ground itself moves. The carrier lifts, and she goes still, not out of calm, but calculation. Her ears turn backward, triangulating the unfamiliar hum. Her body lowers to the floor of her enclosure. Her breath flattens, disappears into the engine noise. You're just driving, but she is being carried through chaos. Every sound is foreign, every vibration a tremor in the foundation of her universe. Even the softest turn whispers danger to instincts built for a world that stayed still. Her vestibular system, fine-tuned for leaping, landing, stillness, now struggles to keep pace with a world that won't hold still. There's no territory here to mark, no pattern to memorize, no safe perch to ascend. Only motion, only trust, if she has it. Unlike dogs, few cats ever associate vehicles with joy. There's no scent memory of wind through whiskers, no internal list of happy destinations. Only the knowledge that she is not where she was, and not yet where she's going. You reach back and murmur her name. Maybe she blinks, or shifts, or doesn't move at all. But she hears you. And in that small recognition, a thread remains unbroken. She does not travel for adventure. She travels because she must, and that is perhaps the deeper courage, to endure the loss of place, to surrender control and still remain watchful, proud, silent. From a small carrier, we move to something far larger, an animal whose very body feels like part of the land itself. You've seen them in pictures, elephants on flatbed trucks, slowly rolling down highways, their ears low, their legs chained gently for balance. Perhaps you thought it looked strange. Perhaps you thought it looked calm. But what does it mean to carry a mountain through a world of machines? For most animals, movement is chosen. For elephants, it is remembered. They do not merely live in space. They live in place. Rivers, trees, the smell of bark after rain. These are not background. They are memory, family, self. And now, all of it is gone. The truck rumbles beneath her feet. The ground no longer answers when she shifts her weight. Every vibration ricochets through bone. Her trunk, a miracle of precision and touch, now waves through unfamiliar air. It does not recognize the oil in the wind, the taste of metal, the sharp echo of tires on tar. She adjusts, constantly. Not because she understands what's happening, but because survival demands it. She is not built for stillness. Her heart remembers others. Elephants don't forget. They mourn. They call to one another in frequencies too low for us to hear. And in transport, those frequencies vanish, drowned by engines, severed by separation. This is not just relocation. It can feel like erasure. Welfare studies often find stress rising during transport, hormones shifting, digestion slowing, repetitive movements appearing. But stress is only the word we use for what we can measure. The rest, the disorientation, the strain, whatever the mind is carrying, we still struggle to describe cleanly. The handlers walk carefully. They know. The best ones do. Because moving an elephant is never just about weight. It is about trust and the quiet responsibility of asking a large mind to let you lead. You watch her pass by. She looks calm, but the earth she carries isn't visible. Not all movement happens willingly. Some comes as a shock, an accident waiting in the space between instinct and invention. A deer steps onto the asphalt. A squirrel darts, then freezes. Your foot slams the brake, but the road does not pause. For millions of years, their bodies learned how to move, how to run, flee, disappear into stillness. But none of those instincts were shaped in a world of headlights and velocity. Your car is not a predator. It arrives without scent, without warning, until it's too late. And when it comes, it doesn't chase. It simply is. Sudden, silent, final. The deer freezes, not because it doesn't care, but because freezing once meant survival. On a road, that wisdom becomes a fatal hesitation. Roads don't just kill, they divide. They cleave through migration paths older than history, split habitats into islands, break the flow of generations. To us, it's infrastructure. To them, it's fracture. Some animals adapt, coyotes that wait for traffic to pause, birds that alter their flight paths. Others cannot. And even those that do, adapt away from freedom. The wild doesn't hate our roads. It simply doesn't understand them. Even humans are not immune. Motion sickness, disorientation, anxiety in vehicles. These are our own echoes. Our bodies, too, remember when movement required effort, when distance was felt. There is a name for this: evolutionary mismatch, when the world changes faster than the bodies living inside it. It's not a flaw, it's a lag. A reminder that even the fastest minds move in bodies shaped by slower centuries. We built machines to escape the old world, but the creatures beside us, including ourselves, are still listening to the rhythms of a time before the road. You hold the leash. You lift the carrier. You start the engine. And without ever meaning to, you become the architect of another creature's world. They do not choose the path. They do not know the purpose, but they go with you. In the small space between your seat and theirs, trust builds, not instantly, but in layers, ride after ride. Because what feels like a routine errand to you is, to them, a plunge into unknown air. Because your touch, your voice, your presence is the only constant in a journey that strips away every familiar thing. You can't rewrite instinct, but you can teach the body new stories, one experience at a time. To travel kindly is to remember that you are not alone in the vehicle, and that trust, once given, is not owed. It's earned again and again through the quiet architecture of compassion. You reach your destination. You park, step out, open the door. Your companion, dog, cat, something wild in a quiet shell follows, or is carried, or waits. And just like that, the journey is over. But for them, it was never just a way to get somewhere. It was the world moving beneath their feet, the air whispering stories through a half-cracked window. It was confusion and memory, scent and motion, a trust placed in you like a gift with no wrapping. Because the animals that travel with us do not measure distance in kilometers. They measure it in unfamiliar sounds, in vibrations through their bones, in the shape of our presence when everything else shifts. And maybe that's the part we miss most, that when we move through the world together, one species that built the road and another that walks it by invitation, we are not sharing a destination. We are sharing disorientation and comfort and meaning made quietly in between. So the next time you turn the key, take a moment to notice the ears that tilt with every curve, the eyes that scan a blur of passing trees, the breath that slows, not because the ride is easy, but because you are near. The world is fast. Their instincts are old. But in the space between these truths, something new is always unfolding. Something wordless, something quiet, something that trusts you enough to sit still while everything moves.